Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Yeah. Good morning. I'm Chief Judge David Newblatt. It's my pleasure to call this meeting to order. By the way, I never bang my gavel in the courtroom, only when I come here. To our newly elected officials.
I'm sorry, you got an invocation first.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, we're going to begin with our invocation. We have Senior Pastor Philip Thompson from Bethlehem Temple to do the honors.
We ask that everyone bow your head. Eternal God, our Father, we thank you today for your providence and for your provision for our state in general and our county in particular. Amen. We pray, God, a special blessing upon these commissioners who have been duly elected to serve. We pray that a special grace will rest upon them to serve with dignity and integrity, that they would be so inclined to remember those who are dispossessed, marginalized, and poor. I pray that they will serve and that they will legislate in a way that will reduce the social ills that push people to the fringes of society. And now, God, I ask for your protection of all of us as we do your glorious will. And we thank you for it. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. And if everyone could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
All right. To our newly elected officials and those in the audience, welcome to this 28th session of the Genesee County's Board of County Commissioners. Our first item of business will be the swearing in of officials. This is the first time in recent memory where our county elected officials will be sworn in at the same place. Hopefully, this will be the precursor to a successful 4 years with all of us working together for the common good of Genesee County. Prosecutor Layton, could you please come forward to be sworn in? To the wall of the court. Solemnly swear affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Genesee County Prosecutor
of the office of Genesee County Prosecutor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Reverend Ruma, could you please step forward to be sworn in? Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Genesee County Treasurer
of the office of Genesee County Treasurer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. Drain Commissioner Wright, if you could please step forward, sir, to be sworn in. Raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the Genesee County Drain Commission
of the office of Genesee County Drain Commissioner
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. And could we have Surveyor Carlson step forward, please? Raise your right hand, please. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I have faithfully discharged the duty
of the office of Genesee County Surveyor
of the office of Genesee County Surveyor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, sir. Okay. Now, could we please have a roll call for all our newly elected county commissioners?
Commissioner Lloyd,
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Avery,
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Present.
Commissioner Kuzno,
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Present.
Okay. All right, now it is the time to swear in all the commissioners for their new term. So if you could all please rise. Please raise your right hands. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of County Commissioner
of the office of County Commissioner
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All right, congratulations. Commissioners, your bylaws prescribe how this annual organizational meeting is to be held. Today is the day that has been designated to elect a chairperson and vice chairperson for the upcoming year. I will serve as the chair of this body until a chairperson is elected. Rule 2.5 of your bylaws state that voting shall begin with the first district and continue until all the commissioners have had the opportunity to vote. At the end of the first round of voting, we will tally the votes to determine if one commissioner has garnered enough votes to be elected chair. Should no commissioner have a majority of the votes of the elected and serving commissioners, then we will start another round of voting, this time with the second district. We will continue in this fashion until you have elected a chairperson.
Your Honor, before we elect somebody, they have to determine whether this will be a 2-year or a 1-year term.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion at this time that we have 1-year terms for the chairperson position.
Support.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It's a 1-year term then. Okay, we're going to proceed then with the voting. When your name is called, you should respond with the name of your choice for chairperson. With that, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Lloyd.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Lloyd.
Commissioner Brown,
Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Avery, Commissioner Shoemaker,
Lloyd.
Commissioner Kuzno,
Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Lloyd.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Lloyd.
Commissioner Lloyd has gained enough votes to be elected as the next chair of the Board of Commissioners. Lloyd, can you please take over the meeting?
Congratulations.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for being in this room to support this body and all electeds and the work that we'll be doing together. First, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to my fellow commissioners, the residents of the First District and of Flint and Genesee County who elected me to serve during this session as their commissioner, but even the more, the citizens at large of Genesee County. It is both an honor and a privilege to serve the residents of our community and all employees of Genesee County and all residents of Genesee County. I'd like to thank my wife, my beautiful wife. If you can stand, a lot of people. My two boys are here, Princeton and Kyle. Wave your hand, Kyle. Wave your hand, Princeton. You hear him helping chair the meeting already. My church family, my mentors, Pastor George Wilkinson and Bishop James Flowers, and so many who have gathered here today. To my colleagues on this board, I want to congratulate all of you on your most recent elections and the confidence that your constituents have placed in all of you and all of us. I certainly look forward to working collaboratively with each one of you. We may come from different backgrounds or districts or perspectives and even have different concerns. But I want to say to you all that together, as we come together with a common purpose, serving the people and perspectives of our districts, together we can make decisions that reflect the values and needs of our community at large. To the residents, God bless you. To the residents of Genesee County, you are the heart of everything that we do. Your voices, your concerns, your aspirations will guide the work that we do here together as a board. And my goal as chairman is to ensure transparency, accountability, inclusivity in all of our efforts as a board. I encourage you to stay engaged, public, and to hold us accountable as we navigate the challenges and opportunities that are ahead. We know that the road ahead won't always be easy. Like many communities, we face challenges, economic development challenges, that Commissioner Brown, Dr. Brown, has really focused so much attention on and helped to guide us in a great way. Public health, infrastructure, and ensuring equity opportunity for all, I believe that these challenges present opportunities for us to grow as a community and for us to hit the ground running as a commission to get the job done and to move Genesee County forward. As we embark on this journey together, I want to emphasize 3 or 5 core principles that will guide my leadership as chair as an equal one-member vote amongst a 9-member body. Number 1, respect will guide my leadership. I believe that it's important that all voices of our commission are considered as equal, regardless of our district makeups, regardless of our partisan associations, regardless of our ideals. I will act and lead by example to ensure that all of our votes matter equally. Number 2, collaboration will guide my efforts as chair by fostering partnerships with our local organizations and businesses, our community leaders, and each one of us as a body. As we get to know each other better, I believe that we literally can create innovative solutions that resolve concerns that our residents may have and move us into the future. Fiscal responsibility. Every decision that we make must reflect a commitment to responsibility, managing our county's resources, and being responsible as it relates to the awesome staff that we have. Number 4, support and appreciation for our department heads and staff. I believe that our staff and department heads are the backbone of our organization and the work that we do on behalf of our residents. And then lastly, I look forward as a chair to bringing us together to determine what our collective vision is for Genesee County based on the desires of our residents. I believe together as a body, as a 9-member equal body of votes and voices, that we must not only address today's needs, but also build a foundation for a brighter, more sustainable future for generations to come. I am totally confident that together we can create meaningful progress and make Genesee County a place that we're all proud to call home. And I certainly look forward to hearing your ideas, engaging in productive discussions, and building a bright future for our community. Thank you so much. At this time, prior to addressing the committees and the appointments thereof, I'd like to move to the next order on our agenda as it relates to the appointment of a vice chair. As Judge mentioned previously, our bylaws state that we will elect the vice chair in the same manner in which that the chairperson was elected. I'll begin. The round of voting will reset. We'll start again in the 1st district. And as I call your names or acknowledge you, if you would state your preference, your vote, and then whoever reaches 5 votes, 5 or more, will be designated as such. At this time, I want to go to the clerk for the roll.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Sean Shoemaker.
Commissioner Lowenfree,
Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Shoemaker.
Commissioner Brown,
Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Avery,
Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Shoemaker, Commissioner Kuzno,
Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Shoemaker.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Shoemaker. Shoemaker.
All right, Commissioner Sean Shoemaker has been elected by majority vote as Vice Chair of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners. At this time, before we proceed to public address, I'd like to proceed with the appointments of our subcommittees and our the members thereof. Since being a member of this board and body, we've utilized 2 different committee structures, as has been the designation and preference of the chair at the time. My first year in 2023, we had a committee structure, a subcommittee structure, where committees included the chair, vice chair, others appointed by the chairperson, and then those individuals had voice and vote in those committees, whereas other commissioners who were not appointed to those committees had voice but were not able to vote. I'll go further. What that means is the committee would discuss, all members are able to have voice. The committee would vote on the things that would go to the full body meeting, where every commissioner has a vote on every matter that comes before the county commissioner. It's my preference that we return to a committee structure that are individual subcommittees with individual members designated, and so we'll be moving in that direction. The standing committees, according to the bylaws, and Section 5.1, it says, "It is the purpose of each committee to receive information and to develop and make recommendations to the entire board. Each committee shall carry on a continuing evaluation of the performance of activities within committee areas and responsibility, and at their discretion of the committee's chairperson, receive periodic reports from department heads within the committee's areas of responsibility." Here, the following 5 stand committees have been established by our rules and shall be seated with at least a quorum of board members as defined in Rule 4.6, with the total number of members determined by the chairperson and shall have responsibility as detailed. I want to begin today with the Community and Economic Development Committee. I would like to appoint Commissioner Beverly Brown as chairperson of Community Economic Development. Is that a role that you will accept, Dr. Brown?
Yes.
Thank you so much. As vice chair of Community and Economic Development, I would like to appoint Commissioner Dale Wayhill. Is that an appointment that you will accept?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Other members, and you will receive a full detail of this today, other members of the Economic Development Committee as appointed will be Commissioner James Avery, Commissioner Brian Flewelling, and myself, according to our bylaws, will serve as ex officio and voting member of all 5 committees. Next, I'd like to move forward to the Public Works Committee. And actually, let me read this in terms of Community Economic Development for public so you understand the role. The Community Economic Development Committee processes community development program items, status reports, and other items submitted to the Genesee County Metropolitan Planning Commission. Community Economic Development serves as the parent committee for departments, agencies, and areas of responsibility, including Arts and Culture Millage, Bishop Airport Authority, Economic Development Corporation, Flint and Genesee County Group, Genesee County Land Bank, Genesee County Metropolitan Planning Commission, and Mass Transit Authority. To the extent not covered in the responsibilities for this year, items submitted by the Planning Committee, as well as communications from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, as well as miscellaneous activities related to the assigned departments will all fall under the purview and responsibility of the Economic Development Department or Committee. Next, I'd like to move to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee focuses on large dollar activities that directly impact the current county budget, as well as to plan for future budgets. The Finance Committee processes modifications in current year budget line items in excess of $10,000 and personal activities when they affect the budget. Finance Committee is also the parent committee for departments, agencies, and areas of responsibility, including Equalization, Fiscal Services Office, Retirement Commission, Treasurer's Office, VEBA, and GSERS. The Finance Committee will also be responsible for making recommendations to this body regarding the annual budget process, formation of new departments, adjustment in compensation, the creation of new positions, reclassification of existing budget positions, department line item transfers greater than $10,000, grant requiring matches, capital and equipment procurement over $10,000 where general fund appropriation is required. Finance Committee will also be responsible for payment of bills, including travel claims, the county being the primary debtor on all borrowing, bonds issued by the county, and miscellaneous activities related to Fiscal Services Office. At this time, I'd like to appoint Commissioner Martin Cousineau as the chairperson of Finance. Is that an appointment you accept?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. The vice chair will be, if accepted, Commissioner Gary Gotzinger. Will you accept? All right. The additional members to be appointed are Commissioner Sean Shoemaker, Commissioner Dale Wayhill, and again, I'll serve as ex officio member. The next committee, the third committee of the 5, is Governmental Operations. The Governmental Operations Committee processes contracts for assigned departments, grant applications, and acceptance for assigned departments that do not require a match, and other general operations of the county. Governmental Operations serves as the parent committee for departments, agencies, and areas of responsibility, including adult probation, animal control, the board office, county clerk registrar's office, circuit court, chief public defender's office, community corrections, district court, emergency management, friend of the court, GVRC, human resources, probate court, the prosecutor's office, and the office of the sheriff. To the extent not covered in Finance Committee responsibilities, Governmental Operations Committee will be responsible for recommendations regarding issuance involving taxes other than county tax rates, grant applications, and acceptance for assignment departments requiring a county match, governance issues including bylaws, procedures, and policies, as well as miscellaneous activities relating to assigned departments. At this time, I'd like to appoint Commissioner Dale Wayhill as the Chair of Governmental Operations. Is that an assignment you accept?
I'll accept as long as Princeton Lloyd can be my vice chair. Okay? I noticed he participated in the roll call. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and thank you, Princeton. The vice chair, at this time, I'd like to appoint Commissioner Sean Shoemaker as the vice chair of Governmental Operations Committee. Is that an appointment you will accept? Yes, sir. Thank you so much. The additional commissioners to be appointed include Commissioner Charles Winfrey, Commissioner Brian Flewelling, and again, I will serve as the fifth member and ex officio voting member. At this time, I'd like to proceed to the Health and Human Services Committee, which is the fourth of the 5 subcommittees. The Human Services Committee processes items relating to health, human services, and emergency medical services. Human Services serves as the parent committee for departments, agencies, and areas of responsibility, including Genesee County Community Action Resource Department, known as GCARD, Genesee Health Systems, Genesee Health Plan, Health Department, the Michigan State University Extension, the Medical Control Authority, the Medical Examiner's Office, Senior Services Department, and Veterans Affairs Department. To the extent not covered in the responsibilities for one of the other committees, the Human Services Committee will be responsible for recommendations regarding contracts and agreements for assigned departments, grant applications, and acceptance for assigned departments not requiring a county match, in addition to miscellaneous activities relating to the assigned department. At this time, I would like to appoint Commissioner Charles Winfrey as the Chair of Health and Human Services. Is that a committee assignment that you will accept?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. As Vice Chair, I'd like to appoint Commissioner James Avery. Is that an appointment you accept? Thank you. Thank you. The additional members to be appointed will include Commissioner Gary Gazinger, Commissioner Marty Cousineau, and I will serve as the fifth member and ex officio voting member of that body. I'm missing one. Public Works is the next committee that I would like to move to. The Public Works Committee processes all budgeted capital outlay over $10,000 requiring a procurement contract for building and grounds activity, drain and sewer activities, and county property issues. This committee serves as the parent committee for departments, agencies, and areas of responsibility, including facilities and operations, Drain Commissioner's Office, the Genesee County Road Commission, Genesee County Water and Waste, Geographic Information Systems, Information Technologies, Motor Pool, Parks and Recreation, and the Surveyor's Office. To the extent not covered in the responsibilities for one of the other committees, the Public Works Committee will be responsible for recommendations regarding acquisition or deposition of real estate or real property, the road commission issues, building safety issues, and miscellaneous activities relating to the assigned departments. At this time, I would like to appoint as chairperson, with your acceptance, Commissioner Brian Flewelling. Is that an appointment that you will accept?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The vice chair, if accepted, I would like to appoint Commissioner James Avery as vice chair. Is that another committee you will accept? All right. The additional members to be appointed include Commissioner Dr. Beverly Brown, Commissioner Sean Shoemaker, and again, I will serve as the ex officio voting member. With that said, congratulations to all committee chairs, vice chairs, and members for your appointments to the various committees. I'll wait. All right, at this time, we will move to the public address to the board. If there are members of the public that would like to address this awesome group of community leaders, please feel free to come to the mic now. You'll have 2 minutes to address this body. We value the perspective and sentiment of the public, and we hope to hear from you. If you would like to speak, if you can line up on this wall to the right and come up in order of those that stand. And please state your name and your city for the record.
Good morning to all. Dennis Kramer, former City Council member, City of Swartz Creek. I would like to congratulate all the members who were duly elected this year to serve our great county. This most specifically to my opponent in the 8th District, a hearty congratulations. God bless you all and our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that will wish to address the public? And if you can, if you'll line up to my right here, that would be wonderful. Please state your name and city.
Good evening, Arthur Woodson, Flint, Michigan. Congratulations to everyone. Congratulations, Commissioner Lloyd. It's great to see bipartisan starting already. You know, to see a president that's Democrat and vice president that's a Republican, y'all showing unity already. Where we are here in Genesee County, we haven't seen civility at any of the board meetings in a while now. And you know, this year I made a pledge with myself that I'm going to address things totally different. I was on my way to doing that, to where if I disagree with you, I will call you and speak with you about the decision or something that's upcoming. I have had a lot of fortune over here at the county, because when I come over here and speak to you, you all at least take the time to research and do your due diligence to look and see if it's something that you can assist me with. Cancer cluster study, you all helped me out with that also. So I'm looking forward to coming down, addressing issues, and working with you all and working with the public. You know, even though I disagree with some of the things that people do, I still speak to them because it's on a political level, not a personal level. And I think here in this county, we need to understand the two, because a lot of times we take things too personal being in a political position. And remember that your position isn't a permanent position, it's only temporary. It's a temporary job where you can be voted out, and it needs to stay political and not personal, and listen to the people that are addressing you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Congratulations to everyone who got appointed to their positions and elected.
Excuse me, will you state your name and city? I know it, but if you'll state it for the record.
I got you.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, Percival Whitmore. Some may know me as Percy Whitmore, living in Flint, Michigan. Thank you for that. As far as everything, I just want to say thank you for all that you all do. I have some sponsors here that are elected here, and also some mentors. And it brings great recognition to myself as an individual who is looking to do great things in the future to impact the community within the city, within the region, within the state, maybe even the country. So to see your leadership, to see the great things that you all stand for, to see the committees that you all will be serving on, it brings great joy to me, and I look hoping to working with you all in the future. So thank you, guys.
Are there any additional members of the public that wish to address this body? Are there additional members of the public that wish to address this body? I'm also a Baptist preacher, so we have to say things 3 times. So when you get done, I'm going to ask 3 more times. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Name is Steve Dawes. I'm Mundy Township resident. Just want to again say congratulations. I've talked to most of you here. Congratulations. And I really appreciate to echo what was already said, the bipartisanship and the willingness to work together. This is a great county. We have survived severe weather. We've survived water crisis. We've survived, every one of our school districts that I see represented here has issues with it, with kids not eating right and that type of stuff. But you take a look at this county and what we produced over the years, whether it be great athletes, great teachers, astronauts, Heisman Trophies winners, you name it, Golden Glove, Olympic golden winners. And that's because we're all together. We all need to be together, because I will tell you what's coming what potentially could be coming in the next couple of years with the makeup of this country, of the hatred and the racism and the violence. We have to be together in this county. I love this county. I've been here my whole life, and I appreciate the job that you all do and look forward to having comments and conversation with in the middle. And I will tell you this, we gotta let bygones be bygones, right? Today is the first day of the rest of our lives and the first day of our futures. And I will tell you this, it's a medical proof that if you hold on to hatred and you hold on to disrespect and you hold on to them type of things, it will affect you medically and mentally. So let it go. Let's start with a brand new second day of 2025. Again, congratulations, and look forward to your leadership in this great county. Thank you.
Are there additional members of the public that wish to address this body? Are there additional members of the public that wish to address this body? Are there additional members of the public that wish to address this body? All right, public comment is now closed. At this time, we'll move to an item on our agenda. It is the adoption of the 2025 board meeting calendar. Commissioners, you will find before you 2 options that have been prepared by our office for us to discuss and to make a decision on. Traditionally, one of the proposals is a proposal for of course, we do a lot of work throughout the week and throughout the month and so on and so forth, but our official committee meetings, option A is committee meetings twice a month, and our full board meeting basically twice a month. And the other, actually that's option B, and option A is 1 committee meeting, 1 board meeting, and a workshop each month. At this time, please express your pleasure.
Mr. Chair, for the purpose of discussion, I'll move option B, which reflects our historic, at least for the last year or 2, schedule.
All right, option B has been moved by Commissioner Wayhill and supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Is there discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since we moved option B, I know it's a traditional way. I am a big fan of our workshops. I don't know if we need to have them every month, but I am in favor of having more of those and less subcommittee meetings, because basically if people have watched generally what we do in subcommittee meetings, we pass it once, then we move on and pass it again the second time. The workshops, in my opinion, in my 6 years of being down here, are so beneficial to us and the work we get done, because honest conversations are had. It's not as formal. Ideas are put out there that I really feel benefit our county as a whole. I would like to see something, if it would please the maker of the motion, Commissioner Wayhill, something in the middle where, a workshop is substituted in maybe every other month, and then we have the formal meetings every other month as far as that goes. If that would please him, I would be very happy with that. agenda.
And I have a point of information as well. I neglected to state when I read these that as it relates to option B, workshops will be scheduled as we determine as a board and discuss. Commissioner Wayhill.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Commissioner Shoemaker. I too have learned a ton at the workshops that we've held, and you've stated all the reasons why those are valuable. I don't think, so when I made the motion, again, for discussion purposes, I don't think that precludes us from adding study sessions or workshops. It sounds like you're interested in replacing some committee meetings in given months with a workshop. That part, if you want to offer a friendly amendment, we can do that. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I certainly, you can make a, if you want to amend the motion, you can do so.
Commissioner Cousineau.
I just wanted to say that I'm in favor of B, the traditional way we've done it, but I've also recognized the fact, because we do a lot of work in those committees and then follow up with the full committee. It works very efficiently. It gives you time to think about something, you know, because I've changed my mind sometimes between when I vote on something in the committee and then I research more in the full committee and change my mind. And I think it's beneficial to do it that way. But the workshops, we can do those anytime. We always have. And I think that anytime anybody on this board wants to call for a workshop, that this board as a whole has traditionally, I know we got 2 new members, but this board as a whole has been very agreeable to doing those workshops at any given time. So, yeah, I'm not in favor of doing an amendment. You know, just option B is what I'm going to be voting for.
Any additional discussion? Anyone who hasn't spoken yet? Commissioner Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I tend to agree with Commissioner Shoemaker in that the committee structure that we currently have in place does give us time to really reflect on the information that's brought to us by department heads. And I also think we have to be respectful for department heads, for them to be able to have a good timeline in order to get their proposals to us so that we can get those voted on in a proper time frame. I think if we go with option A, that I would propose having at least 1 workshop per month so that we can dig deep, do a deep dive in some of the many topics that we have to focus on. And that way we know when we have a workshop coming up for that month, we can all have a chance to bring those topics to the table so that we can focus on those and hammer those out in preparation for the committee meeting and the final board vote.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Avery.
Yes, I'd like to back what Dr. Brown said, and even in lieu of, still, if there aren't any occurrences that warrant the workshop, we can always not have it. So it's not like it's set in stone, but the option is there for us to have it monthly, so I'm in agreement with that.
Commissioner Wayhill.
I don't know. Let someone else speak if they have and they wish to do so. I have a suggestion.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak who has not? If not, Commissioner Shoemaker.
I'd like to hear Commissioner Wayhill's suggestion, then I'll speak because maybe I won't even need to talk and everyone can be happy. So.
Yes, sir.
My suggestion is that we adopt option B and that we also formally indicate that we will have 1 workshop per month on dates to be determined beginning in January of this year.
Is that a motion?
I'll move to amend my own, I'll make a friendly amendment to my own motion, yes.
If there's no objection to his amendment to his own motion, I'll order it so. All right, no objection, Commissioner.
I seconded the motion, so I do object.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in agreement with that. I do have a counter proposal, however, is that we perhaps have a workshop on every 5th Wednesday throughout the year, which would not take away our ability to have the current committee or the current meeting schedule.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're suggesting instead of having a workshop once per month that we mandate or, vote to do now, we mandate one every fifth Wednesday, and then we still are able to call them as needed if we additional. What is your pleasure, body?
My concerns with Mr. Winfrey's motion is that there would, of course, only be 4 fifth Wednesdays in the year. And then due to so many of the months have holidays and we don't meet all 4 times, we only meet 2 and stuff, so I would have to, see how that works on a calendar, because I don't think that we'd even have 4 workshops. I'm all for workshops. I think they're invaluable, but I also feel our formal meetings are invaluable too.
Is there any other discussion at this time? Commissioner Flewelling?
Just because I'm not totally familiar with the process yet, what does it take to call a special committee meeting or a special full board meeting?
So a commission meeting is 3 members. Okay. A workshop, we have traditionally just kind of scheduled them as needed if there was something particular, and we did it.
You said the committee meeting's 3 members?
Yes.
What about the full board?
The full board, 3 members.
So that could potentially, if everybody went with A, those could be scheduled as needed too, right? Special meetings.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other discussion at this time? To move to Commissioner Shoemaker.
Did you want to go?
No, but it doesn't matter who the chair is, they always get us confused.
Yeah.
Because we both look the same
That's
age, that's why,
I know,
right?
yeah.
We're going to have to change the seats, right? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there's a lot of valid points. I don't think anybody's arguing for the fact that we need workshops and how valuable they are. A couple things Dr. Brown brought up that I think are good points. One are our staff. I think it allows time, if we set these in advance, for them to kind of prepare, that this might be something they need to come to or not come to. The problem I've had in the past is workshops, we put them together, but it's always very difficult for us to sometimes get everybody to them. And I think we've all seen that enough being here, because we all have schedules. And if we put them on the schedule now or far enough in advance, then everybody knows, and then guess what, we can plan accordingly. Not just us, though, not just allowing us to plan, though, it also allows our residents to plan, because I've heard a lot of people, I mentioned that, we have workshops. They're like, well, I've never heard of it. I've never been to one. I've never seen it. Well, we generally put them together, and yes, they are posted publicly because we're following the rules, but this would allow people time in advance to understand if they want to come and see what the process is, which is, to me, a very valuable process. They're on the schedule. Like I said, I would just like to see them locked in a date beforehand, and they don't have to be as many. If you want to go quarterly with them for now, and if we want to add more, we can add more, and go quarterly with them. We can keep the regular meeting schedule, which I'm fine with. If you want to add one quarterly, that would be great. If we want to do it, the Tuesday before our meeting, in case, our regular board meeting at the end of the month that we have every quarter, that would be fantastic. I'm up for suggestions as far as that goes. I'm not dug in on that. I just would like to see that they're in there so our board can plan, our residents can plan, and our staff can plan. I think that's very fair of us to ask that.
If there's no one who has not spoke already who wishes to speak, Commissioner Gazinger.
I have more questions than really comments. So my question is, do we need 2 board meetings a month? Do we need 2 committee meetings a month? And I can't speak to that since I just sat down, but that's my question. I haven't heard anybody really address the need. I'm not a meeting to meet guy. If we got something to do, let's get it done. So my question is, do we need 2 board meetings? Do we need 2 committee meetings?
Well, I'll take a crack at that, Commissioner Getzinger. It's my experience, just being here for 2 years, that we frequently get items that are time sensitive. Most of the items I don't think are, but approval of a grant or acceptance of a grant so we can get it started and begin spending money, other types of things that are there's a time issue there. So you can always call a special meeting, I suppose, if you need to for those types of things. But I think the schedule's actually worked pretty well overall, given the speed and the flow of work here at the county. I do agree that there is value in adding, so the public can be aware in advance when we're going to do the workshops, because they are open to the public, even though they're more informal. Part of me wonders whether I should just withdraw my motion and make a new motion and see if there's a rough consensus. Commissioner Lloyd.
I believe that everybody has spoken. I'd like to weigh in on this. We know it's custom that the chair waits to the end of the debate after everyone has spoken, and then they weigh in. My suggestion would be that we adopt one or the other. My preference is B. I think that it serves the residents well for us to maintain the schedule we have. And then we have a schedule brought for workshops, maybe to the next Governmental Operations Committee meeting, which is, I think, in the next week. And then by our next meeting, we can have a couple proposed schedules back to us for workshops, and then we can take action at that time so that we can move this item forward. So
is your suggestion that we table it?
my suggestion is that we take action on the motion that's already on the floor. The motion has been moved and supported to support option B. My suggestion is that we take action on that and take up in the upcoming government operations meeting a proposed schedule for workshops and have recommendations brought to us in our next meeting to take action on our workshop schedule.
I'm in support of that, and I don't think that requires any sort of change to the main motion.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Just to understand, option B, and then it's going to go to government ops. Do we have a date when we will be bringing it back to this board for adoption, the workshop schedule?
My thought is that the board, our office would literally work on it over the next day or so. I mean, they could send a couple options out to us for us to start thinking about, have in the Government Options Committee upcoming, that item be taken up and then brought back to our upcoming meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right?
It would come on the 15th, according to this.
Yes.
Option B, it would come on the 8th.
It'll come on the 8th. All right?
No, 8 to committee, but then the committee moves it to the full board meeting.
Yes, on the 15th.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any additional discussion on this particular item? The motion on the floor at this time is to adopt option B as our schedule for the year, with the understanding now, well, that's not a part of the motion, but we've talked about what will happen with the workshop schedule. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of option B indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, all opposed indicate by saying nay. All right, the motion passes. Option B has been adopted as our schedule. For the benefit of the public, we're coming to the conclusion of our meeting, okay? All right, and so now that we had adopted the meeting calendar, there's an additional item just before we get to remarks from the commission and move to the close of this session that I would like to raise. In addition to the subcommittees, our bylaws allows in section 5.3 that the Board of Commissioners may by resolution create special committees with a definite assignment, and when so created, such committees shall hold over until their assigned project is completed, unless sooner discharged by a majority vote of the Board of Commissioners. At this time, I'm proposing that a new special committee be created, and I know we've done it both ways, and there will be some potentially in support and not, and we can debate it. But it's at this time that I would like to suggest that we create a special committee on appointments. The purpose of this committee will be to work in a designated and specific way to ensure and track all vacancies and expiring appointments, working with our office, which are appointed by this body, and that this committee will also have responsibility for ensuring that those vacancies are advertised, resumes received, candidates considered, and recommendations made to the full body. My suggestion is that this will be a committee of the whole, so all members will be a part of it. The main piece to this is that the committee will have a chair and a vice chair who will be designated to work directly with our office to kind of bring those appointments to us. And all members will be able to weigh in and make their recommendations because everybody's a part of that committee. And I don't believe that we'll have a vacuum of, some folks weighing in on appointments or not. Anybody who wants to participate will be able to do it. So at this time, that's what I'm suggesting, and I'll entertain a motion if someone is in agreement with that.
I'll move it.
Support.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker and supported by Commissioner Winfrey to create a special committee of the board on appointments. Is there discussion? Commissioner Wayhill.
A couple points of information. I guess the first one is to Mr. Freeman. Do we have candidates for vacancies on the commissions in the pipeline right now? And do you happen to know which commissions?
Yeah, I think we've got an application in right now for GDL, District Library. We've got a couple of people in for Road Commission.
And are those seats already expired or vacant?
The Road Commission seat expired on 12/31. The GDL seat is vacant, yes.
The GDL seat's been vacant for several months. Am I right about that? So I guess my point of information or question is, how would this affect those folks who are applying under our current system? And then another point of information, I assume it's to Corporation Counsel. We adopted an appointments policy last year, or actually I think it was at 2023, in order to, what we felt at the time was make this a little cleaner and more level playing field for folks. How would this new committee affect that policy, which is our current policy, which means we need to follow it?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing about this, but if we have an appointments policy, and this committee is going to be doing something different than following the policy would either need to be rescinded or amended as part of the whole new committee that's being created.
Okay, so what I heard you say is the current policy is what governs us at the moment, and your recommendation would be that the motion needs to include rescinding that policy if this committee is going to do anything that's different from that policy.
Rescinding and or amending it.
And or amending it.
But I don't know the details of the new committee, so I'm not prepared to give you a complete answer.
I mean, my assumption is the new committee, once it starts meeting, will be doing things that are not consistent with the policy. And so I raise it as an issue. Thank you.
Is there any additional discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker and then Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a big advocate for this. We had this committee years back. Commissioner Kuzno, when he was chair, formed this committee. Before we had this committee, we didn't even take applications for different appointments. It was who knew enough commissioners, who glad-handed enough commissioners to get on a board. These appointments are so important because these people are our voice on these various boards. There are so many millages that come through here that that are just pass-throughs for us. We collect the money. This board oversees the money until it goes to the various organizations that collected the tax or other organization. And we have very little say other than these appointments. And it is so vital, one, that we appoint people who are invested in our community, but also invested with our vision of what we see for the county. When we had this board, I think everyone who was here can agree that we put people on these different boards who cared, who wanted to be there, because we had a process. We created a process to put them in place. We created an interview process. We created an application process. That's why we still today put the application request out there. I don't think we get enough. I think we could do different things, and that's something I would be in favor of if this board was created to look into, is how do we get more people invested? How do we get people with a vision for the same vision for the county as we do to understand things. We have a lot of different organizations that collect taxes from residents that have looked at this as a piggy bank. They have huge savings. There's millions of dollars sitting there that should be spent on our residents, not sitting in their coffers. They're not banks. Those millages were passed to be used, those funds were supposed to be used for our residents to better their lives, and they're sitting there. And we need to make sure we put the best people possible on there. And this committee, in my opinion, when we did it before, gave us the time to vet these people to make sure they're doing it. And to Commissioner Kuzno's credit, I think it was a bold move, but I think it was the right move to make at the time. I still think it's the right move to make now. And like I said, it's a committee as a whole, so I don't know what most people would have to be afraid of with it. And yes, if we have to change a bylaw, or I don't know of any bylaws off the top of my head that the committee would be getting in the way of right now. And the committee should follow those bylaws until something was changed. But I am a big advocate of this. I've seen it work. And there were some growing pains with it because different commissioners felt left out. And that's why I think Chairperson Lloyd's recommendation that it's a committee as a whole is a wonderful thing, because then you won't have any of that. And it's huge for us. This is very important, because they're our voice when they sit on these different boards. You know, we are not allowed to be, or we're not allowed to be on some of these boards, either the people we're sending over there, so they've got to have our vision for the county, and they also have to be able to show up. Because one of the things we also did when we initiated this board was we did a count of how often they were there. And if they weren't there a certain percentage of the time, guess what? You weren't getting reappointed. If you only showed to 30% of the meetings, you shouldn't be on those boards moving forward. And these are the things that this board can do and should do, and there's many others, but to keep things short and brief, I will step back and say thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to speak.
Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to try to connect some of the dots regarding what we've been discussing the past few minutes. To my new colleague to my right, Commissioner Getzinger, asked the question, is it necessary to have so many meetings? And number one, we have so many topics, the depth and the breadth of the topics that we have to deal with. Anything from economic development to housing to a regional emergency plan. We have 369 bridges across Genesee County that are in dire need of repair. We have land bank issues. We have consolidations. There are so many heavy topics that we have to talk about. That's why so many meetings are required. And if we want to get the best thinking at the table for solving these problems, I think it's imperative to have the workshops. So I'm wondering if a special committee for appointments is necessary. I agree with Commissioner Shoemaker in that, you know, we have had some bumps along the road with how it's been working. But if we were to go ahead and have these workshops that we were planning every month, why couldn't the appointment process and the appointments be discussed during one of the workshops rather than establishing a separate committee, special committee? If we have these appointments that are urgent, as Commissioner Wayhill pointed out earlier, we need to really get busy with it this month and have a workshop and have that be the first item on our agenda is these appointments. And that could be one of our very first special workshop, along with any other hot topic that we must deal with right away. And my concern is that, well, I think it's more effective and more efficient to have workshops once a month, because not only will it allow us to solve the problems at hand, but we need to start doing some visioning. We need to start doing some long-term planning for Genesee County. And at the moment, in the 2 years that I've been on the commission, it feels as if we have been, you know, putting out fires as they are thrown at us all the time. And so I personally would like to do more long-term planning. And in order to do that effectively, I think workshops are necessary to encompass all of those topics that I just mentioned and more that we don't even know are coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cousineau.
I'll pass at this time.
Is there anyone else that wishes to weigh in at this time who has not already spoken?
I'd like to say I agree with Dr. Brown, and it would just I guess I'd want to make sure that, one, we're having the necessary amount of workshops, and two, that it would be a standing agenda item on that on that.
Anyone else that has not spoken? Because I like to weigh in. All right, quickly, just to address a couple things, and then we'll move this item. One of the reasons why I suggested going back to the Appointments Committee is because out of all of the breadth of items and areas of concern that come before the body, as so eloquently just suggested by Dr. Brown, the one area that does not go through a committee but comes right from our office to this body and our full meetings for a vote is the appointments. And there is not a chair or a vice chair who's aligning and focused like all of the other work and items that we do that works with our department staff, through that process and whatever it is, and then have a committee where they're discussing, okay, these are the ones that we have this up for appointment. This is they met the policy, whatever that discussion is, and then be able to say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then now we'll move it for our action. And so it's out of that concern that I raised it as something that I think we should do. The second thing that I want to mention is our workshops. Obviously, there's so many things that we want to talk about. I think the first really should be, one where we're discussing as a board what our priority is for this session and for this year, amongst other things, right? But as far as the appointments, whenever they come, the committee will meet. That includes everybody to vet it. One other thing I want to raise as it relates to this, as it relates to the policy, 80% of the policy speaks to the things that folks who desire to be appointed have to do to be appointed. This is how you apply, this is the qualifications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when you go to the back of the policy, the sections that speak to the commission just basically says that all of us will have a vote on the appointment and so on and so forth. And then there's a section that says, this is how we go about removing a person who's being appointed, right? And so what we could do is we could establish the committee for the reasons that I just suggested and charge governmental operations with the work on their next agenda of making whatever adjustments to the policy are needed just to reflect that now we have a committee that this work goes through before it comes to us for final action. I have no comments, no additional comments as it relates to this. I think I saw Commissioner Cousineau and maybe another hand.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I want to thank Sean for being such an adamant supporter of a policy that I instated years ago, and I really can't add much to what he says as far as all the possibilities or the positive possibilities of doing it that way. We saw a large increase in the number of people, qualified people, that took and put their names in because they suddenly realized they had a chance instead of the political stuff that has always happened in the past. And I will also say, we have a policy now that, that Mr. Lloyd was talking about, but we don't always follow it. This board, who knows what it's going to do when it comes to any given time. We do have policies, but it's our duty, once we establish a policy, to follow it and quit making exceptions to it all the time. And I realize sometimes it doesn't fit your personal or my personal narrative, but the reason we have that policy is for the betterment of this county. And I think this county would be far better off if we have that type of committee, and a committee of the whole I don't have a problem with. But these are, as Mr. Shoemaker said, very important appointments for these boards. And we have to have the most qualified people that, they're volunteer positions for the most part. Some of them are paid a little bit, but mostly it's volunteer. And it's important that we get the most qualified people out of the community of Genesee. And I think by following our own policy, we will do that. But in the last 2 years, I didn't see us doing that.
Is there any additional discussion, Commissioner Flewelling?
Mr. Chair, so the way I understand the policy now, when there are openings that need appointments, applications are collected by the administration. The administration vets them, makes a recommendation to this board.
No, they do not vet them. They receive the application, so that they're the place that the applications are received. And then ultimately, I believe that the administration checks to make sure that whoever applied followed the policy in terms of this is the criteria or what have you. And then, then they bring the names to the full committee meeting for us to take action. So it generally shows up on the agenda, hey, these are the two boards we have appointments for, these are the names, what's your pleasure? And it's not much discussion and that kind of thing at that time, to answer your question.
So the potential is this committee wouldn't have to meet multiple times a year. Could just be on an as-needed basis, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chair. As the former chair of it, we did meet a lot. Poor Josh will tell you. We did. But we didn't have seats that were vacant sitting after Commissioner Kuzno established this board. 2 months later, there weren't seats vacant. There weren't some saying, oh, we didn't know this was coming down the road. We didn't know this was happening. It was already put out there. The board was well aware of it. We were well aware of it. We didn't have empty seats because guess what? This board's responsibility was to keep everybody, not just our residents, but our board aware of what was coming up. And Mr. Freeman and I would meet regularly. Originally, it was Brenda Clack and Kim Courts and Commissioner Kuzno, because he was the chair. We would meet. We would go over the various appointments that were coming. We came up with a policy. The reason you have the policy to advertise it, the reason the policy that's supposed to be out in advance are because this board was formed. And then we got a new chair, and unfortunately they didn't like it and they wanted to go back to the old way where guess what? You know the right 5 people, guess what? You're on the board. And we received really qualified people. I'm not opposed to if they want to put it under government operations, great. But it needs to be something that's dealt with every month because there's new appointments. There's people that quit on these boards. There's people that resign. We don't know half the time. And if we're not staying on top of it, we're not doing our duty. It's vital, and I really believe the people we've vetted when we had this process were wonderful candidates because they wanted it. They went through the process. We'd narrow it down and we'd interview them, and then we'd see who was even more qualified. And then we allowed the board to make that choice. But they were people who really wanted to have the job. And they had like-minded views of what we're trying to accomplish. So if you want to move it under government operations, fine. But this needs, in my opinion, this is vital. It needs to happen. We wouldn't have these seats out there that we do have. We wouldn't have, because the road commissioner seat is expired already, correct?
2 days ago, yep.
Yep. When we had this board, and you can look back at the records if you want to check it, this wouldn't have happened. Because guess what? That's what this committee is responsible for, is staying on top of this. And we make a lot of appointments through the year. And it's very vital that we do this. So however this board would like to move forward with it, whether you want to put it under government operations, which be under Mr. Wayhill, which I would be totally fine with as long as it's something that's met and addressed. I like the idea of the separate committee because that's what they're focused on. Their sole goal is to make sure we get the most qualified candidates. It's in advance. We don't have empty seats. And we also are making sure that, guess what? The people we appoint show up to these meetings. They're there. We did put that policy in place. Josh would, kind enough, he'd have to track them down. How many meetings did they attend? How many times did they show? We had people showing to 20% of the meetings, and we would vote to leave them on a board. That's disgusting. And that's why this committee is so important. To me, it's very valuable to me. We deserve people, the residents deserve people who want to be there and represent us. So I still think it's one of the finest things we've done down here, and we had it, and I will always fight to make sure we try to move it forward and have that. And if it pleases the board to put it under government op, so be it, but I think it should stand on its own.
So thank you. I know, Commissioner Wayhill.
Yeah, no, I think what the chair was recommending is that the policy revisions, if there are any that need to happen to accommodate the new committee, be considered by government operations, not that the function of appointments fall under government operations, which I would not want, because the committees are now not committees of the whole. And the reason that we have the policy that we have today and the system that we have today is because the last time there was a committee that brought recommendations, of individuals for these seats, all hell broke loose, if I may put it that way. Sorry, pastors. And there were people that were upset because they didn't get to participate, and where's my candidate, and they missed the deadline, can we add them at the last minute? And so what we decided to do for the benefit of the public, and it's an imperfect process, right? But we have a form that every person needs to fill out if they want to be on the Genesee District Library Board, the Airport Authority, maybe it's the health plan, et cetera. They all put their name, their address, basic information, and then they answer some questions about why they want to pursue this, and what do they think about diversity, equity, inclusion, which is a county priority. And then we get those, and every commissioner is to read those through, and then we meet, and then we vote by name who we think should fill the appointment. Imperfect process, maybe people don't see it because it's under the radar. I will say that I frequently ask Mr. Freeman where the vacancies are. As one individual commissioner, I'm frequently texting him to say, are there vacancies, where at? I have constituents that might be interested, and then I encourage folks that I know, whether they're my constituents in the 8th District or elsewhere in the county, who I think would add value to participate and submit their names and their information. I would just say, I'll conclude with this, and I won't say any more. We do need to address the policy. I'll be very disappointed if we do anything that contradicts policy, because when I came here 2 years ago, we have policies from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that contradict each other, and we don't follow them. And we got to do that, whether it's appointments or something else. So that's one thing. The next thing is, what do we do with the people in the hopper that are in the pipeline already for GDL, and I think there are some for the Road Commission. And then the last thing I'm now forgetting, but I'll just say that, I think what we try to do is rectify a process that was very messy, very contentious. And, I know what it was. The third thing was, are there people that we've appointed that we voted on since the policy was adopted that we think have not been attending meetings? Do we know names of people that haven't been attending their meetings? Do we know that they weren't qualified or they're not qualified? I don't think there's any evidence of that. I think that each time someone's come before us, we've looked at their application and voted on them, and I wouldn't have voted for them had they not been qualified. So I think that the process that I'm speaking to has served us well, in my opinion, and I think that going in a new direction, agreeing with everything Sean said about we want the best people, we want to make sure taxpayers' money is guarded, but I don't know that the new way is going to be any better in terms of producing success than what we currently do based on our history. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, and I know we've had some extensive discussion on this, so I want to try to bring us to action if we take it. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Can I add just a couple things here? One, a lot of those policies, or a lot of those things that exist in the policy started in that committee. A lot of those things that are in that policy started in that committee. And the certain people that brought all hell loose brought a lot of other problems down here too. And I won't get into that. But the whole point is this. It is something, it's a board as a whole. It would have someone directing, it would have someone directing what we're doing. You guys all can vote. There's, once again, like I tell everybody, I don't know if it's a partisan thing, I can count. There's 3. If you're worried about something like that coming through and affecting a policy you're really heartfelt on, it's not going to happen. The goal is this: to operate as efficiently as possible within the policies, but also create new policies. Because those policies of how long an app was open didn't exist before this committee. The policy of putting an application in didn't exist before that committee was formed. There was none of that. And who knows what new policy, if we focus on it, we could come up with to better this county together. It's not one group. And the way the policy worked before is everybody had the opportunity to look them over. It was narrowed down to the 3 most qualified, or 4, whatever they do, but they could vote on anyone they wanted. They got the stack of 50. During COVID, we had a fun time. We had applications for the health board. department board. You can imagine how many people applied to that. We narrowed it down because we knew a lot of commissioners were busy, but if you want to vote for anybody on that board, you could. Or anyone in that stack, you could. So, like I said, I think it's a mistake not to form it. I will continue to push that I think it's vital. My goal, and I hope no one else's, is to override or ride roughshod on it. But the fact is we wouldn't have the delinquency in board members. And since then, I don't know if we've been keeping track of whether people show or don't show to board meetings like we did then. So I don't know who's not showing or is showing or isn't showing now, but that's something we could look into. And like I said, I'm just for it. I hope you guys realize it's vital. If we don't like it, guess what? You got a year. You can do like the next chair that came in, and you can squash it. But it was working. We put great candidates on these boards, and we didn't change much but policies that made the county better, because you all had to still vote on them even when that committee was formed that way. All 9 board members still voted. So anything that was that dysfunctional or was wrong that was causing all hell to break loose, they could have stopped. We had 9 votes, could have stopped it. Guess what? At the time, if you think it's a Republican issue, there were 2 of us down here. So you could have stopped it easily. But it wasn't. It was rational. Because a good chair decided that this was the right thing to do. And then a former chair, who became chair again, decided, like the old way, where I've got my group of people, the nepotism will continue, and we will continue on appointing the same old people, and we will expect different results. And it doesn't happen. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll move to action because we do have a motion that's been moved and supported on the floor. So I'll repeat the motion. The motion is to create a special committee on appointments. With no further discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by saying nay.
Nay.
Nay. You captured it. All right, the motion passes. At this time, I'll move as the bylaws give authority to the chair again to make appointments of the chair and vice chairs of special committees as well. At this time, I would like to appoint Commissioner Sean Shoemaker as the chair of this committee. Is that a role that you will accept?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I would like to also appoint as vice chairperson of the appointments committee, Mr. Commissioner Charles Winfrey. Is that an appointment you'll accept?
Yes, thank you.
All right. And it is a committee of the whole, so all members of this body are a part of that committee. Thank you so much for the discussion that has brought us to the end of the actions that are before us to take. At this time, for the benefit of the public, the next 2 things that will take place is this. We will have a formal swearing in for our esteemed clerk, Clerk Dominique Clemens, after which we will move to comments from the boards, as all of my colleagues I know would like to express their gratitude to all of you that are here. At this time, Clerk Clemens, if you will come forward. And I'd like to call Judge Newblatt back forward to preside over his oath.
Fresh off the airplane.
For the judge.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of County Clerk Register
of the office of the County Clerk Register
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to move to remarks from the commissioners, and after which we'll have our adjourning prayer. I'm going to start in the 3rd district at this time with Commissioner Gozinger.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to just thank everyone in the audience who's here to support me and support everybody else here. I'm excited for the change. I'd also like to do a shout out to my opponent, former Commissioner Ellenberg, and thank her publicly for all she's done for this county and our district over the years. I'd really like to say a big thank you to Ellen for that. And I just hope I'm available for you, and if anybody needs anything, I'm an open book guy, so get a hold of me, and I hope to represent this county well. And we have a great county, like a lot of people have said today, and I just think we can make it better, and we can make this county an awesome place to live, work, and play. So thank you very much, everybody.
Commissioner Dr. Beverly Brown.
I just want to thank my wonderful husband, Willie Brown, for coming to support me today. And I also want to thank all the other individuals that are here because they have an interest in seeing what's going on with Genesee County and the business of Genesee County. I too look forward to serving with this new body of colleagues and hoping we can get significant work done in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Commissioner Charles Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I just want to thank the residents of the Second Ward for placing their trust in me again. Want to give a shout out to all of Genesee County. And as before, I will continue to place my efforts on making county government more inclusive and to make sure that we do not neglect the most vulnerable and marginalized communities in Genesee County. And thank you for the time.
Commissioner Brian Flewelling.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, thank you. I would like to thank all the residents of the 9th District for placing their trust in me. I would like to thank my friends that are here that supported me, helped me along the way. I especially want to thank my wife and 2 youngest children that are here out in the audience today. Well, they might stand up, I don't know if you see them. But they put up with me every day, and especially over the last 7 or 8 months. I wouldn't be here without them. And I'm going to work hard just to represent everybody fairly and keep earning your trust. Thank you.
Commissioner Delway Hill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Big thanks to the folks from the 8th District who put their faith in me once again in November of this year. Also want to say, and I can't see him from this angle, but I know Denny Kramer is sitting in the front row, my opponent, my Republican opponent, who has been kind to me. There he is, and I think that it is refreshing, I hope, for many that bipartisanship is not dead, and we can still admire the people who oppose us. We are not always enemies. We can be opponents and argue over issues and not make things personal or derogatory. And then I'll lastly say, well, 2 things. My husband and my mom left because I was talking too much earlier, and they're on to a reception, but I want to thank Maggie Gansky and Sang Trong, who were here, my family members, and then the many people in this audience. When I look out, I see colleagues from over the years, whether it's the nonprofit community or education or government, the faith community, labor. All of you have been supporters of me. This is not my hometown, but I have made it my adopted community, my adopted hometown, and I've made a life for myself in large measure because of you and what you've invested in me. So I'm grateful for you all, and let's continue to serve. Thank you.
Commissioner Marty Cousineau.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll keep it brief. I always am, direct to the point. Thank you. Thank you for everybody, but more importantly, the staff of this county. I've been down here. I'm the longest, well, I've served the same number of years as Mr. Shoemaker, but I started in 2016. So I've seen a lot of changes, and I think most of them have been for the positive. But what has made that happen is their staff. Our staff has really put forward an effort to make this county more viable. It was on pretty shaky grounds back in 2016, and now we're on much better grounds. And I really appreciate the staff for that, and thank you for everybody that did vote for me. Again, thank you.
Commissioner Sean Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, I wouldn't be where I am or be able to represent the wonderful 6th District. As I said, we're all here. God has anointed each and every one of us to serve our districts, and I hope we remember that in everything we do, that he is the reason we are here, and he calls us to serve, and he calls each one of us to serve, and we remember that. Even when you're upset with me or I'm upset with you, I hope we always remember that. I'd like to also thank my family, as everyone, they've always been very supportive. And for you new commissioners, you'll need them. I'm sure they're going to get a lot of heavy nights with your voice in their ear complaining about this or that when things don't go your way. The key thing to remember is, and I've heard it from several people, even people speaking at the podium, is short memory, move on. We're here to do what's best for the county, and we're here to do God's will. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. As we conclude, and as I prepare to call my mentor and pastor, Pastor George Wilkerson, forward to give us our closing prayer, I want to acknowledge a very special woman in the audience. I was born to a young lady who was 15 years old. When she got pregnant, she was in foster care herself. She was pregnant with twins. I was one of the two. I have a twin brother named Dorico. I was in foster care until I was about 10 years old, and there's a woman who's the reason why I'm in the city of Flint in Genesee County, who did not have any children of her own. She had a career. She gave up her job. She gave up her lifestyle to adopt myself and my twin brother, as well as 6 or 7 other of my siblings who gave her a hard time, but she had a strong hand. And my beautiful, fine, sassy, sophisticated mother is here in the room, and I want to acknowledge her, Miss Shirley Faye Lloyd. Will you wave your hand, Mama? I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge her along with my wife and children, because if it were not for her giving us a shot at a real life, I would not be sitting here today along with God. With that said, thank you all so much for being here today. At this time, I want to call all of the co-electeds, and I do mean co-electeds. We're elected in this work together. If you would join the county commissioners up here by the flag so we can take a quick photo, and the rest of you, after the prayer, you all have a wonderful day. At this time, my mentor, the man who I want to be just like, my father figure and my pastor, Pastor George Wilkerson, give us a prayer. Are there people from Word of Life Christian Church in here? Just scream real quick. All right, thank you. Pastor Wilkerson, thanks.
Let us all stand. Father God, thank you for this day and for the blessings you have bestowed upon us. Thank you for this body of elected commissioners. We thank you for who they are and what they represent. But Lord, we pray and ask that you would let them govern in a special way, that they would be people of integrity as they lead their districts, as they let them lead with the kind of grace that is required in order to do wonderful things as they work together. And as was mentioned, let them work together with respect for one another, with respect for this community. Let them work in collaborative efforts to do great and wonderful things for this county. And then, Lord, let them be fiscally responsible as they direct and guide and lead the county. Then we finally ask that they would govern with grace, that they would lead with love, and that they would act with wisdom that only comes from you. We love you, we thank you, and we honor you. It's in Jesus' matchless and magnificent name that we ask it all. Amen.
Amen. Have a great afternoon. County electeds, please join us on the stage.